Hey guys, Scott here. Sorry, it's been a few days since I made a video. Honestly, literally nothing has been happening in DBD, and I've been very addicted to that Clair Obscure game. That game is amazing. But I wanted to go over the design preview for the 17th version of the Skull Merchants, third version, second version, and we're going to go from there. Now, a lot of this is kind of hard to visualize without seeing animations and movement speeds and cooldown timers and recoveries and just like all this shit. It's like really hard to just conceptualize how strong or weak this will be just based off of text and some very amazing drawings. But I will try my best to kind of guess what it's going to be like. But again, much of this might be wrong because there's just no way to know. And also they have plenty of time to change things like this too. So first up, the killer aura reveal when hacking a drone on their first attempt at the rework when they initially posted about this. When the drones were hacked, that you would see the Skull Merchant's aura for some reason. So removing that, that's good. I don't know why. It makes no sense. The global detection power detects survivors who are running or walking, keeping this consistent with how drones detect players now. This is good. So it used to be that it would only detect players who are running. So as soon as they heard the warning that that sound was, or that the shock thing was about to happen, it's basically like a doctor shock that only triggers on running people. Now it works on walking people as well. So basically, you're going to have to be standing still or crouch walking. So this is going to be exactly how the drones work, and that's sort of a no-brainer to make that how it works. So it's very consistent amongst the reveal and her actual drones themselves. They both work in the exact same way, so that's a good change. Stealth drone scan lines are now visible again, but will not extend entirely to the ground, providing a visual indicator for survivors to crouch walk as a counteraction. That's probably for the best, just walking into a line that was obscured by something and just getting a claw trapper tag or whatever. It never really feels good, but it also needs to be not clear enough to the point where it's never an issue. So again, this is one of those things where I just need to visibly see it. It's too hard to tell just via text how that's actually going to play out. So Skull Merchant has two different drones. They touched on this previously the first time. She got 5 deployable stealth drones, as previously mentioned. Now she has a drone buddy, which is a pending name, but I think that's a great name. It should stay as drone buddy. It's going to be called that regardless of what it is. That hovers directly over her shoulder. This is not an AI controlled entity, so it's not going to follow its own, it's not going to be like the Houndmaster's dog, which gets stuck on terrain. It's just going to be a visual thing that just floats above her, basically. Stealth drones function previously stated, but drone propulsion only injures, not downs survivors. Any survivor hit by the drone propulsion is tagged and tracked with a claw trap. Claw traps can be removed by survivors following a held interaction. So the thing with this is they are definitely heavily moving her away from being a trap killer, because the way this works, you can just remove a claw trap on your own now. You don't have to wait a certain amount of time before it just falls off, which means if she hits you with the drone propulsion thing, then doesn't chase you, you just remove the claw trap and she's accomplished absolutely nothing. I don't know how long it's going to take to remove it. I don't know if you can remove it while... You shouldn't be able to remove it while walking. It should just be standing still. I'm 99% sure. But I don't know how long it's going to take, but likely the time it takes in order to remove it is going to be less than the time it takes the Skull Merchant to switch to her, drone propulsion thing and then hit you with it and then switch back. So I don't really know. This is one of those things, again, we're going to have to see with visuals and numbers and cooldowns and recoveries and speeds and how does the drone propulsion even move? Is it dodgeable? Is it not dodgeable? There's so many questions that I can't tell how this is going to be, because free injures are never a particularly engaging mechanic. A lot of people hate Legion for that. A lot of people hate Ghoul for that. Free injures are not super fun to go against. But they're also not a deal breaker. Just because, a Legion can injure you for free doesn't mean the Legion's good or overpowered or even at all, decent. So it's too many questions about that. But it definitely seems like they are heavily moving her towards a chase killer away from being a trap killer, which I say good. I know a lot of people do enjoy playing trap killers, but unfortunately there is not a single well-perceived trap killer in the entire game, at least on the Survivor side. And I know not every killer's got to be fun for Survivor and things like that, but we should at least strive to make things as engaging as possible for both sides, and there is not a single fun trap killer. Even Trapper, one of the worst killers in the game, most people still hate going against them because there's really not much interaction there. It's, the Trapper's chasing me, I stepped in some tall grass, I could never see this trap, I go down. Yay. It's never very satisfying to go against Trapper. Even super killer-sided players don't really like Trapper. But Trapper sucks. It's just trappers in general have sort of an at odds relationship with how the game works, and just controlling an area is always going to lead to monotonous gameplay that's not fun. Hag is sort of the exact same thing. She basically just relies on proxy camping and That's 99% of how all hags win public matches. So it's just not a very fun thing to have trap killers. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying it's far more difficult to make a trap killer really exciting. So they are definitely taking, I would say, the lazier route here by making her a chase killer. But I mean, I think that's going to be for the overall benefit of people playing the game. It's like not going to benefit like, Pixel Bush. But for the most part, I think that's probably a slightly healthier direction, if not a little lazy, because it does sort of remove her trap identity there. So like I said, you sort of have to commit to a chase to someone that you hit with this drone propulsion. Otherwise, they'll just stand still or remove their claw trap, and you've accomplished nothing. So you need to hit them with propulsion and then follow up with this next part here. Skull Merchant gains an activatable ability that fires an EMP from her drone buddy. This range attack is a small AoE and downs if a survivor is tracked with a claw trap. The EMP dart does not hurt survivors if they have not tracked with a claw trap. So the idea is you hit them with drone propulsion, they get tagged. The getting tagged part is sort of irrelevant though. Like, why do you need to tag? Well, why do you need to like look at somebody that you're actively like chasing? I guess it can maybe help you like if you don't know which way they went out of loop or something like that. Maybe to give like little wall hacks there, you can see like their position changing on your radar, something like that. I don't know. It just seems sort of like at odds with itself with removing the fact that she's getting information, but still maintaining an aspect of her that gives information. It's like the identity is definitely very like conflicted here. It seems like half of them wanted her to remain an information trap killer, and then the other half wanted her to just be, forward dash 2025 DBD killer. So I don't really know what to make of that. It's kind of hard to say. I also have no idea how this ranged attack is going to work. I have an incredibly annoying eyelash. There we go. God. I don't really know how this AoE attack is going to work. Is it AoE in the sense that Huntress has an AoE hatchet because she throws a semi-truck at you? Or does it literally, like, does it hit something and then kind of like explode with a shockwave or something like that? I don't know. We're definitely guessing a lot of things here. But it seems like the general gameplay loop will be hitting someone with the drone propulsion, chasing them down, and then shooting them with the range attack to actually down them. So she will have a downing power now. She won't rely on just perks or stealth or just random haste or hinder to get her downs. She will actually have a ranged hatchet that she can hit people with that also explodes. So I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of spitballing here. I don't really know how that's going to play out. But I guess let's go on. Deploy and detect. First order business is to make use of your tools and your arsenal, figure out where survivors are. You begin by deploying a stealth drone and piloting it toward a high traffic loop, where you leave it passively scanning. Switching focus back to the Skull Merchant, you head towards another loop, activating your global detection power in hopes of catching a survivor heading to the first gen. Remember, this is only going to tag people that are running, but typically at the start of the match, especially before people know who the killer is, people are just going to be sprinting to whatever generator they want to get to, so you'll likely get some very good early information, kind of circumventing the need for anything like lethal pursuit or ever on this killer. She's going to kind of just get it by default, which she should. She's like the information killer. That makes perfect sense. Based on the global detection power and your passive stealth drone detects separate survivors, notifying you of their whereabouts on your radar. You're not perfectly situated for a chase. Switching back focus to the idling stealth drone, you see the survivor who is detected running away. Making use of the stealth drone's increased movement speed, you give chase. Mid-chase, you see an opportunity to strike, launching your stealth drone forward with drone propulsion and hitting the survivor. Not only does this injure them, but it attaches a claw trap to them. This inflicts a broken status effect and tracks the survivor on your radar. So I guess that's pretty good, because if the drone is kind of far away from you and you tag them and then you switch back to the Skull Merchant, you'll kind of have an idea of where you should go, because you might not be able to perfectly triangulate the best, path to go to track that survivor. So I guess a little bit of time of that will be nice. But by the time you arrive, if they've removed the trap, then he's just going to have to hit them again and then hit them again. It's kind of have like Nemesis 3-hit syndrome, except there's an unlimited amount of, syringes to cure yourself. So additionally, we need to see exactly how this drone propulsion is going to actually fly as a projectile. Is it going to have a slide because it's flying in the air, kind of like how Ken slides after he's done with his ability? Will it just have unrealistic movement like this? Is it going to be like Victor, annoying back revs where you just basically can't dodge it? So many questions about this, but we'll see. I must admit, these drawings are fucking incredible. They taped a knife to the end of the drone. This is just peak art here. While drone propulsion can't be used to down or survivor, this opens up to her other ability, EMP darts to down. At this point, Skull Merchant can take matters into her own hand and hunt down the Clawchop survivors by hand with an M1 attack. Where's the fun in that? Hovering over her shoulder at all times is her prized buddy drone, which hides a secret weapon by charging up and releasing an activatable ability. When in control of the Skull Merchant, her buddy drone fires a short to mid-range EMP dart that hits with a small AoE. If a survivor is being tracked to the Clawtrap, the dart will activate this fearsome contraption, downing them. Good hunting. Now, from the survivor perspective, they put a bow on him. Look at it. They put a bow on it. If we take away anything from this, they need to have whoever makes these things for every update ever. I don't care if it's even just a perk rework. This art needs to be on absolutely everything because that is fucking adorable. All that's well and good, but for Survivor, how are you supposed to deal with these high-tech tools? Stealth drone passively scanning an area, crouch walk to avoid the scan lines, or hack it to send the drone back to Skull Merchant's personal stores. That's current how it already works. Here, the global detection power notifications, same above, begin crouch walking. So the global detection thing is going to have like a notification before it happens, and you basically just have to treat the entire map like it's an active drone for a few seconds or whatever. I'm not sure how long it lasts, but that's how that works. Notice the stealth drone being piloted. Keep to tight loops and be ready to juke to prevent the stealth drone from attaching a claw trap too. The fact that it says keep to tight loops makes me think it's going to be very rigid, and it's going to be, if you've got like short round loops, it's not going to be able to do anything at you. So I think that's going to be sort of the counterplay. And a lot of maps have plenty of these short, shitty round loops that are very easy to get M1s at, but it's like hard to hit killer powers at. So I think that's sort of what they're getting at there, that you're going to want to hug, tight tiles. In fact, you're going to want to stay away from things like shack or jungle gyms or TL walls that are all straight line walls, because the drone will probably be able to hit you very easily there. But if you were just rounding a very short loop, you're probably not going to be able to get hit. So I'm guessing that's sort of the implied counterplay there. Look at the little bow. It's so cute. So I'm trying to... I don't fully understand what all this art means. Okay, I see. So this is the drone shooting the EMP dart. The dart explodes through the wall. Okay. So now yeah. So this art is actually useful as shit. So I can see it's hitting here and it's hitting through the wall. So it's actually going to function similar to Unknown's UVX ability, where smart players can actually hit you through a wall if you're hugging it tightly. So it depends how big that AoE is, because if it's too big, then the short round loop thing suddenly is not a counter anymore because it just hits the entire loop. Again, we need to see the size of these things before we actually know. Things that I've heard in college. Afflicted with a claw trap and see Skull Merchant approaching, be ready to juke your EMP dart. It has a short charge time. Use the time to put an obstruction between you both. Easier said than done sometimes. Afflicted with a claw trap and feeling hidden, hold the interact button to remove it. This is going to be crucial. I don't know how long this is going to take. If this is something like 4 or 5 seconds, this is dog shit. If it's like, 8-10 seconds, then we're starting looking into a decent amount of delay every time you bump into something with the drone propulsion. So I don't know. The time here is going to be very vital as well to determining how effective that actually is. So yeah, it definitely seems like they're going for very, very heavy focus on chase, because the ability with drone propulsion combined with the EMP explosion dart thingy, they have to work in tandem where you're still in the chase of them. Because if you hit them with the drone propulsion, they'll just cure their own claw trap, and then your dart does nothing to them. So they definitely want you to kind of just focus on one survivor and down them, focus on a survivor and down them. How good will that be? I don't know. Like I said, I think fundamentally this is a better concept than what we currently have, at least in terms of fun for the game. People that like this trap-based design are going to hate this because they're kind of killing that entirely. So I think this is overall more good for the game, but it's also kind of lazy in killing her trap identity instead of trying to make an actual fun trap killer. That being said, I don't think you can, due to just how the game works in general. I don't think it's even possible. But, I would have liked to see them at least try it. But I think at this point, they're so scared of fucking up for the 77th time on the Skull Merchant that they're just like, whatever, just give her a dash. Oh my god, it's John Dark Souls. I love that guy. So overall, I think that is all I can easily say about this without seeing visual indicators of how this is going to actually be in game. We need recovery times, we need cooldowns, we need movement speeds, we need turn ratios. Does it hover? What can it fly over? Is it going to slide? There are so many different questions that are going to completely change that. Any further guessing of whether or not this is going to be good is pointless, because if any of these things are overtuned, she might be way too good. Otherwise, she might be dog shit. I have no idea. I think the concept is mostly fine, if not a little lazy, but we need to see what she's going to be like on the PTB whenever it actually hits. But I think it's promising. They just need to really make sure all these values are good. But I don't know. I'm sort of a mixed bag about this one. Anyway, I'll let you guys watch the inevitable Pixel Bush 77-minute rant when that comes out. But that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.